In the summer of 2012, Dr. Elijah Gusikoff of the Brooklyn Institute for the Criminally Insane mysteriously disappeared with one of his patients. The following are excerpts from the final tape left in his memo tape recorder. Warning: some listeners may find the following audio disturbing.
June 6th, 2:35 p.m. New patient admitted to facility numbered 42069 TDJ. Patient suffers from delusions related to a whimsical notion he has named podcasts. Apparently, this is a form of radio that, rather than being transmitted efficiently via the airwaves, is instead delivered through a complex series of tubes to which the patient has given the moniker Internet. I look forward to interviewing the patient myself. June 7th, 11:47 a.m. Initial interview with patient number 42069 TDJ is now complete. Delusions are more severe than initially expected. Patient has invented an entire podcast show and fictional manifestations that co-host this show with him. This show is named, aptly, Wasting All the Time, and it is a comedic sort of thing that patient 42069 TDJ and his imaginary friends Dave Patterson and Cody Parcell entirely improvise as if something of quality could ever be devised under such conditions. June 13th, 4:57 p.m. Liberal use of electroshock therapy has thus far had no effect on patient 42069 TDJ. Indeed, he has now developed a new obsession with colors, particularly the primaries of the light spectrum, red, blue, and green. He claims that each of his imaginary podcast show's episodes corresponds to one of these colors, and that he is the king of the red episodes. As his delusions are now taking on a troubling grandiosity, I am recommending an aggressive pharmaceutical intervention in addition to further electroshock. June 17th, 3:07 p.m. Very long interview with patient 42069 TDJ today. Despite the best efforts of medical science, he persists in his delusions. He has described at great length the structure of his ominously titled Red episodes, and I will here attempt to transcribe their content as related to me by this madman. First is the Jonologue, an awkward portmanteau of patient 4269 TDJ's Christian name and the word monologue, in which the patient holds forth on some subject in an authoritative manner. We see again here his tendency toward the grandiose. Next is a game called Fruit Words, and patient 42069 TDJ was very particular in his wording here. It is a game played with cards of two kinds and colors. Red cards are nouns and green cards are adjectives. They will draw one card of each color and then improvise a scene inspired by these words. The show continues with a segment called What Have You Been Up To? Here, patient 42069 TTJ, asks his imaginary co-hosts about what activities they've been indulging in outside of producing this so-called podcast. Next is What Is Weird in This World, in which John reads a bizarre or entertaining news story to his, again, completely imaginary co-hosts. Using this news story as inspiration, John, Dave, and Cody improvise a scene. Actually, this is a rather amusing idea. In the improv game of the week, John selects a pre-existing improv game for he and the guys. I'm sorry, Dave and No! The imaginary co-hosts to play. At last, the format moves inexorably to a game titled The Plot Thickens, a narrative character-based segment in which acquaintances check in with one another and recap recent events in their lives. Nonsense. Every word nonsense. Vile, spitting, delirious nonsense from the skull of a madman. We are finished for today. June 18th, 1:26 a.m. Cannot sleep. There are also blue episodes and green episodes, each with their own formats. Could it be that I desire to know more about wasting all the time, this podcast, despite the clear dangers of indulging John's delusion? Am I truly sane? And he the madman? Oh, physician, heal thyself! Good night, folks.